guys, my name's Nadine, welcome to my channel and welcome to a Victober themed video today. I absolutely love Victober and I thought it would be quite nice to look back over some of the things that I've read during the Octobers over the last several years. I've taken part in Victober, either sort of on YouTube and before my channel off it as well. So I've got a little pile of books here that are some of the stories that I've absolutely loved, and I thought it would be nice to share them with you today. So I'm just going to start at the top of my pile, I think. So first, Oscar Wilde. I do try to pick an Oscar Wilde for Victober because it's always a lot of fun, you know? So I was thinking particularly about his drawing room plays when I chose this. So a drawing room play is a theatrical genre that typically depicts sort of witty banter amongst the upper classes, and that would take place generally in drawing rooms where people would sort of entertain their visitors. So I think he wrote 4 drawing room plays. So the first one that I was going to tell you about was The Importance of Being Earnest, which is one that everybody has heard of, and this follows John Worthing, who is a sort of carefree young gentleman living in his country pile, who has invented a fictitious brother named Ernest who has, you know, wicked ways, and it gives John the excuse to disappear off to London to sort of rectify things and deal with his brother. And in reality he is going to London to visit his friend, his very close friend, Lord something. I forget his name, Lord something. I think this was it banned originally? It was either banned or there was some sort of trouble due to Wilde's homosexuality and his close relationship with a Lord Alfred somebody. I'm awful for names, as you might be able to guess. So yeah, Lord Alfred somebody was one of Oscar Wilde's very close friends, and Alfred's father took umbrage with this book that also had, with this play, which also had sort of a homosexual subtext to it. But it's very, very entertaining. Also, what else have I read from here? There was another one. I've made some notes. These are all 4- and 5-star ones for me. Did I not write it down? I'm so silly. So there was also A Woman of No Importance. I think this one tends to be the least liked, I think, or the least well known of his plays. But this takes place during a party of lady somebodies, and it follows this aristocratic, charming, you know, gentleman who then runs into his illegitimate son. Again, it was one that I really, really loved. Oscar Wilde is always a winner for me. I think a few years back I also read The Canterville Ghost, which I really enjoyed and is great for this time of year. And that's about this American family that buy this English sort of country estate, and throughout history the only people that had lived there had been part of this one aristocratic family, and it is now haunted by one of those people, and he does not want this vulgar American family in his home, and so he decides to haunt the heck out of them to try and get them to leave. But it doesn't quite have the effect that he was hoping for. Again, very entertaining. Always recommend Oscar Wilde this time of year, or any time of year really. Next, the darling of Victober has to be Elizabeth Gaskell. I don't think you can go far wrong with a Gaskell, to be honest. Cranford, it was one that I read back in my early teens, but I have definitely reread it during Victobers, and it's like a vignette, so it shows you little slices of life for everybody in this village of Cranford, which is it's a lovely, lovely story. I would highly recommend that. Next, Wives and Daughters. This follows a young girl. It's like a coming of age story. Molly, I think her name was. Molly Gibson. So we start out with her at the age of 12, She's motherless. She has a very good relationship with her father, and we sort of see her grow up, and then she starts to get the attentions of somebody working with her father, the romantic attentions, and he is not happy with that, so sends him away and decides that what this girl really needs is a mother. And so he marries somebody who is perhaps not the best choice, and she moves in, so she's got this new stepmother, stepsister, and although they're not evil, they're very, very selfish and not necessarily the best for poor Molly. But yeah, we see her grow up, and it's got themes of love, of class, gender, and it's just a lovely story. It's a very sort of leisurely tale, so if you want something to really take your time with, this is a good one. But I think ultimately my favourite Elizabeth Gaskell that I've read during Victobers is this one, North and South. So this one follows Margaret Hale. Margaret lives in this, she's got a very genteel sort of existence living in the South with her pastoral father. But then everything changes because her father loses his faith and decides to give up the church, take his family and move to an industrial town called Milton in the north. And yeah, Molly has to, not Molly, Margaret has to find her way there. This is just a wonderful, wonderful book, and her relationship with the mill owner there, John Thornton, it's brilliant. It's ultimate sort of enemies to lovers trope there. You've got to give that a go if you haven't already. Next, this was one that I was really not expecting to love as much as I did, and that is Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. I didn't think I was going to love this. It is not an easy read, so if you are in a bad place mentally or emotionally, do not pick this up. This follows Jude Fawley, who is a working class man who has aspirations since childhood of being an Oxford scholar. But his life is just beset by issues and tragedy. He is tricked into an early marriage by a sort of despicable woman. He falls in love with somebody that he really shouldn't, and they settle and start a family together out of wedlock. And so not only then does he have poverty to contend with and his responsibilities to this family, but also societal disapproval. And yeah, there's a lot of tragedy in this. I won't say anything more because I don't want to give anything away. But I would recommend it, but again, just not if you're not in the best place. So next then is somebody that I don't really see discussed very often in during Victober, and that's H.G. Wells. Some years ago I read War of the Worlds as part of Victober, and I really, really enjoyed it. In this you're following an unnamed scientist. I think he's got a first person narrative, so if ever that's a prompt in future, I would recommend this one. It's a very early science fiction novel which depicts basically what would happen if humanity encounters extraterrestrial life. So this unnamed scientist, you see through his eyes the whole thing from invasion by Martians all the way to the end, which obviously I'm not going to tell you, although you probably know, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to read. And it's not too long either, so if you're looking for a shorty, that's a cool one. Another shorty but a goodie is Goblin Market and Other Poems by Christina Rosetti. I am not a big poetry fan, I have to admit, but I really enjoyed Goblin Market. This follows two sisters, Lizzie and, it's another L word, L name, I forget, Lizzie and Laura, who are tempted by goblins to eat their fruit. And it's got themes of temptation and sisterhood and feminism. And yeah, it is a beautiful poem, actually, very, very enjoyable, and you can get a lot from it. So even if you are not into poetry like myself, I would definitely recommend this one, Goblin Market. And again, it's a good one for this time of year, sort of spooky season. It's a nice read. And finally, always one of my favourites, and I've reread this so many times, and that is Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. So yeah, I don't think I need to go into this one too much either. This follows sort of Heathcliff and Cathy and their descendants, and it's got such a perfect feel, particularly for those cold autumn nights. It's got very sort of bleak gothic landscapes, and oh, it's a gorgeous book. I know some people really hate this, but I love it. I just think it's gorgeous. The characters, not so much. The characters are quite despicable at times, but the writing is just stunning. There are a lot more books that I could talk about. You know, I've not talked about Jane Eyre. I've not talked about, I need to think about things before I start speaking. Dracula. I've not talked about Dracula. Why haven't I done that? It's because the book wasn't on my shelf. I think my son's nicked it. But yeah, there's so many wonderful works of fiction from the Victorian era. Let me know, are any of your favourites in this list, or what are your favourite reads so far during the Victobers? I would love to hear them. If you have enjoyed this video, do let me know. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye!